What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Bitcoin Daily live stream. Today, unfortunately for you guys, and I know you guys are going to be very sad about this, but my camera is not properly working. So you'll only be hearing my voice, but I do have a co-host with me, and I'm sure you will prefer to see her face regardless. So let me introduce her right off the rip here. The Bitcoin Queen. What's going on? How you
Hey
doing?
guys. Hey, pretty good, man. If you guys don't know by now, Queen, if you in Spanish spin-off of Bitcoin Daily show, which has taken a hiatus,
Yep.
still around, but we're taking a hiatus. So I'm here contributing to the English channel because I'm down for the and here we are. We're gonna get to it. So thankfully, and well, not thankfully, unfortunately, since Jay's camera's not working, you get to see my face. So
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So like you said, you've been part of the Spanish channel, and we've had a Spanish. We've been doing Spanish channel for a little while now. We did kind of take a step back on it. So now we're gonna do some English channel stuff. 'Cause I'm trying to do a show every Monday. So whenever you're available, you're obviously always welcome here. Um, and hopefully we could get that Spanish channel back up and running. But I want to build some momentum here, and then go from there.
yeah, I thoroughly I enjoy the Spanish channel. I think a lot Spanglish because we do have broken Spanish. You guys who don't know Hispanic, from Miami, pretty much. Miami Spanish, which is Spanglish. But yeah, hopefully we get our Spanish channel rolling again. There was actually a couple individuals kept tagging me on Twitter talking about we had like Spanish content channel. Oh, man. So definitely come back, guys, if you are Hispanic or have Hispanic friends out there. But for now, enjoy the English show.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we might be having some sort of difficulties on the audio. I don't know. The audio sounds like you're coming in and out for some reason. So
Oh
that's some
no.
yeah. So that's another issue we're gonna have to deal with. But yeah, as we go, we'll get things. Hopefully everything working perfect within the next few shows, right? Um,
Gotta love live streaming.
yeah, exactly. So right now, I'm currently putting up the link for the live stream to get some people to join here. So I'm putting it up on Instagram and Twitter really quick, and then we'll jump into everything else. So while I do this, if you want to kind of shed a little light on your background other than the Spanish Bitcoin Daily Show, how long you've been around, and all that as far as cryptocurrency.
All right, the P's and Q's. Okay, guys. So, let's start from the beginning. So, I've been in the crypto space for 6, 7 years now, approximately. Two bull runs ago is when I joined, just at the end of two bull runs ago. So, it's been a couple years now. I was actually in school to become a doctor. And
That's
then
crazy.
I was working as an insurance agent once upon a time, and I realized don't like the business side of the medical industry, and I ended up downgrading. But I found Bitcoin around that time, and with the idea of sovereign money and being able to wealth, and because money seemed crazy to me from like a very young, ironically. And my dad actually got really sick when I was growing up, so I was kind of a hustler. I would sell candy bars just to attend a friend's quinceanera. I would ask my mom. My mother was always very kind. I remember asking when I was like 3 years old about these things. And so the idea of this new form of money always fascinated me. And down that rabbit hole we went. And years later, here I am. I now currently do consultation for multiple projects. I host a lot of meetups. It's actually Miami Blockchain Week. Ironically, And it was, I think, around this time, around Miami Blockchain Week, because there was Miami and events this week. The iconic conference, which is now called Quantum. It used to be TNABC. It was the longest running Bitcoin conference in North America, which has now rebranded to Quantum, sold off by Mo11. It is happening this downtown Miami, and I will be hosting an event and Coin Fund. So if you guys do feel free to join. I will give Jason a drop in. And there's a Web3 pitch night, so host happy hour, all that good stuff. So
That's
here in the crypto space, we'll probably always be here until, I just too rich to mess around and just like go have babies. We all gotta grow up, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but that's crazy. I didn't even know you were going to school to be a doctor. So that's something I just found out.
I was, and then I was just like, I don't know. It's like, so this is what got me, right? There was this line in one of my textbooks: medical malpractice in Western medicine is the third leading cause of death.
Wow.
In the United States. And that I just stopped for a second. And I thought to myself, I was like, you mean to tell me that there are more people dying from doctors making errors than half of the diseases out there, car accidents, all between?
Yeah.
Wait a second, and that just like, it hit me, and I was like, maybe. And then the other thing was, being a pusher was the highest paying job you can get after doing my program, my health administration program. And, those two things combined, working for an insurance company, phone.
Yeah.
And it just, I couldn't. I was like, I gotta.
Yeah.
Never looked back.
I hear you. Trust me, I've done sales jobs, and I hate cold calling and all that. Oh, I couldn't stand it. That was all crazy stuff. But yeah. So I just tweeted out everything. I put everything on Instagram. So let's go ahead and dive into what's been going on with crypto. What happened with crypto last week, and we'll talk about, like, we'll share some thoughts on it. We'll run through an analysis by me, and we'll go through the news that we have so far in the last week or so. So right now we broke back above $23,000. Right now I'm showing the chart here, and we're pushing back to the high so far. The high so far is 23,402, and we're currently sitting at 23,197. So last week's weekly candle closed at, where was it? 22,714. So I mean, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, right? Last week we ended up 8.79%. The week before that we're up about 22%. So I mean, yeah. It's been a crazy, and actually the week before that we also had a green week. It was only 3%, but it was a green week. So that's 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row, and right now we're pushing for a fourth week in a row on Bitcoin's price. What are you thinking here? Is this, and this is a question that I'm getting a lot, is this a bull trap? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
So I feel like this typically happens like in the middle of a bear market. We're about 2 years in bear market, I believe. What is it, 2023?
Yep.
The run was 2020, 2021. I feel like this typically happens where we see an uptrend, like is what a lot of people are also seeing, but obviously those altcoins obviously are performing how much in percentage, because Bitcoin's just much more, right? So I think this is kind of just like regular market trends, market movements. If you're a trader, if you're dollar cost averaging in until the next bull run, if you're a trader, these are the times where gains matter, because we've had so much hurt in the past like 5, 6, 7 months maybe, at least. You know, there has been so much pain with all the, and basically took it down to like 15 grand, like something like that. It went 15, 14, somewhere around there. So this is, and I don't know how long it will. Historically, Jay, you tell me, you're the chart master. What historically that happens around?
Yes.
Historically speaking, actually, around the Bitcoin conference, Bitcoin always pumps. It is January. Something that just it's just repetition, right? Everything's priced in, as we say.
Yeah. Yeah, so and some of the people in the chat, they're saying that the audio is cutting out. I know, I apologize about that. I'm not sure why it's cutting out, because there's no reason for it to cut out. I've been trying to look while she's been talking, and yeah, I know it's cutting out, because it's cutting out for me as well. I'm not sure. We're using Discord today.
Okay, though, is that good? Is my video okay?
Yeah, the video's perfect. Yeah, like when I'm pulling you up, the video's perfect. There's no issues with the video. It's only the audio that's in and out. I don't know why. But this is
like this.
Yeah, this is the first one that we do together. So we'll figure these things out as we go. For the next one, we should have everything figured out, including my camera, which, by the way, if you guys are just joining in, my camera is not working. So I'm having camera issues. She's having audio issues. We're just having all sorts of issues today. But you know what? We're going to make it work, right? It doesn't matter what. We're going to do like Bitcoin's price, and doesn't matter how many issues we have. We're going to keep pushing forward. So
let's go.
Yeah. So right now I just pulled up the yearly chart here for Bitcoin, and one of the things, there's a few different things that I actually covered in a few of my videos recently. The first one is, if you go all the way back, looking at the yearlies to 2014, that's pretty much when we had the first real bear market for Bitcoin. And then after that, we had 3 green years in a row. And in the 3 green years, the way that they happen is the year pre-halving, the middle year is the year of the halving, which was 2016, and then the year post-halving, which was 2017, which is when we had the crazy run-up, right? Then in 2018, what happened? We had a bear market, very red year, 73% down that year. And then what happened in 19, 20, and 21? Green, green, green. And it was the same setup as last time. The year before that halving, pre-halving, the year of the halving, and the year post-halving, right? And then after those 3 green years in a row, what did we get last year in 2022? A bear market, down 64%. It was red year, bear market. And then so far this year, we're already up 39%. If we're looking back historically at how this pattern has played out, this year is supposed to be a green year. Not saying that we're going to have insane gains, but we should end up higher than where we started the year. And then next year and the year between next year and the year after that is when we should have that bull run, which is the year of the halving in 2024, and then the year post halving 2025. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this year as a big consolidation year, where this is the perfect time to accumulate crypto, because I believe in 2024, 2025 is when things will definitely start to kick in. I think all the bad actors are slowly getting kicked out the game, and anyone who's over leveraged is pretty much out the game. So, I mean, who else is there to sell crypto at this point? By the end of the year, we should see the the interest rate hikes stop like being hikes, either paused, and then in 2024, we should start eventually seeing a decrease as inflation continues to drop. Then we'll see a pause first for the Fed interest rate hikes, and then we'll start seeing a decrease because they have to decrease the interest rates at some point. And I imagine that will all take place beginning 2024. And from there, it lines up perfectly with the historic pattern that Bitcoin has shown here over the last 8 years. And it lines up with the halving, pre-halving, year of the halving, and post-halving pattern. And it lines up with the inflation data. It lines up with when we're supposed to get that next bump. So all the pieces of the puzzle, I believe, are coming together, and they all start really coming together next year. I think this year is a big consolidation year, but I think we will still be green this year and end up on, not saying we're going to go to a new all-time high or anything, but I think we have a good year.
Yeah, definitely not a new all-time high this year per se. That's definitely bull market activity, which I don't think we're there yet.
Right. Yeah, 100%. So looking at other currencies in the market in the last week, Ethereum pretty much lagged Bitcoin a bit this last week, only up around 5% on the week in the last 7 days. If we look at altcoins, we see XRP popped a little bit, up about 9% in the last week. They've had some bullish comments from, I think, like the CTO and some of the other people talking about that they think that the SEC case is should be finished and closed this year. That would definitely be bullish, as long as XRP is not considered. And I think that what's going to happen is they're going to come to some sort of agreement where XRP doesn't, like Ripple doesn't have to plead guilty or anything like that. They're just probably fined, right? They have to pay X amount of money. And that's going to be a bullish ending for XRP. I think that's probably what happens, but who knows? In crypto, you never really know. We could only make guesses and then get proven wrong by the market. Other things that were moving this week, in the last week, was Shiba Inu up about 15% in the last 7 days. I know they've had some bullish news come out with their burn rate and the what's it called? The Shiba Inu. What is that thing that they're releasing soon? I forgot the name of it.
I'm not sure, but I know what you're talking about. It seems to be something that's very popular and surpassing even like Ethereum news, ironically, and Cardano news.
Yeah, it's like their own what is it called? I can't get their own like layer 2 or something like that. The Shiba, I forgot what it's called. Shiba Ethereum. I don't really remember right now, but it was something like that. I know
some layer.
Yeah, it was like a layer. They're gonna have like their own blockchain type of thing that they're working on. So I know that's also what's been helping prop up that price for Shiba. We continue dropping down. Near Protocol has had a good 2 weeks actually, and what's really been going crazy the last 2 weeks is Aptos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly.
Aptos.
Yeah.
For those of you guys that don't know, Aptos is one of the two that came out of Facebook Libra.
Yep.
So it is a very VC invested, forward-looking company, and they are the only company that did an airdrop out of the two. A lot of people are now looking towards Sui to also do that airdrop. A lot of people are bullish on their programming language, and pretty much it's a programming language that is designed to Solidity. Obviously, it's technology that came out of Facebook, not just some random mathematicians and a lot of smart people putting together language. So it's and obviously they've watched all the errors of Solidity over time. So a lot of people are very interested.
Yep. And if you look at here, I just pulled up the page on what is Aptos. It's a layer 1 proof of stake blockchain, right? And it's developed by, like you said, previous Meta, aka Facebook blockchain engineers. So there's definitely a lot behind this, and that's why basically in the last 2 weeks, I think let me see if it shows me the last month. It's basically gone from like $4. The beginning of the year was actually let me see. It started the year off about $3.50, and now it's at $13.19. So it's definitely been on a run. It's definitely a project like you said, with a lot of VC money, and it's by like real life engineers that have worked in places like Facebook. So that's why it's been doing so good in the last few days.
I think additionally, so Aptos is quote unquote considered to be the Solana killer.
Right.
I think, as said by some of the executives, that's, everyone came out, the Ethereum killer, Ethereum killer. Care about Ethereum, we're gonna go out. So, taking into account all the stuff that's happened with FT, which was heavily invested in Solana, that has a big contribution.
Yeah. And I appreciate you holding your mic up, but but the audio is still cutting out, so you don't have to if you don't want to.
No.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something with Discord, because we're running it through Discord right now. So it's definitely something through Discord, some sort of issue through Discord that we're having. We'll get it
We're
figured
gonna
out.
have to send a message to Discord.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
we'll get it figured out. It's probably because I haven't paid for the Nitro or whatever Discord version, so they're like, you know what, I'm gonna mess up your audio for not using it. So yeah, so that's pretty much the top performer in the last week. Let's take a look at the economic calendar here, and that's one thing that I forgot to pull up, but I already know what it is. The next big event that we're going to be seeing that will impact market prices is going to be next week, actually. So it's very soon. It's going to be on Wednesday of next week, which will be February 1st or the 1st of February, depending what country you're from. You're going to put the date differently, right? So yeah, so next Wednesday, I think what's the market is expecting right now is for a 50 basis points hike again, or lower than that. So I'm not sure what the consensus is, since I don't have the page pulled up, but it's going to be 50 basis points or lower is what's expected. So lower would be 25 basis points. And we did get good news on the inflation data, so I'm pretty much expecting the same thing. The way that the market will probably react, as long as if it's below 50 basis points, things are gonna definitely start to rocket to go up. We'll see like a big move up. Maybe something similar to when the inflation data came out, anywhere between, it could be something between like 5 to 10% move. If it's, let's say, 25 basis points. At 50, then it could kind of be both ways. There's definitely going to be volatility, and then they'll probably be waiting on Jerome Powell to speak. You know how he speaks half an hour after, and then he kind of gives an overview on why and what they're thinking, and then price will move dependent on that. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Are you leaning? Do you have a lean or some inside info in either direction?
So I've been keeping up with all the stuff that's been happening in the gas markets, the energy markets. We've been seeing lots of tech companies cut lots of jobs. Google cut 10,000, Microsoft cut 10,000, Facebook, all the way down the line. It's a little unpredictable what's happening. People are, they're going to the supermarkets, and egg is wealth right now. The eggs are, the statute of wealth, whatever's going on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, no, it's the housing market has, surprisingly, most people thought it was going to go down by now. Okay, like hotspots. Like obviously, if you're somewhere in Illinois, is like. However, if you're here somewhere like there's a lot of factors that's playing into the economy right now. There's also a lot of talk about, there was a U.S. ally that was pretty much going to Russia for oil. They're like, hey, U.S., oil's too expensive. We gotta buy. So things are starting to take a turn. I don't see I don't see when this war is going to be over. If you guys don't know, we're still sending money to the Ukraine.
Yep.
We're still paying money out of our pockets, and pretty much anything that people pay in like federal income tax, that's what that funds, that kind of stuff. So the government needs money. They need to keep, I guess, the dollar at a certain level. And those interest rates are what pump that. Even though inflation, quote unquote, has gone down, which I think in supermarkets and in consumer products, it's just catching up. As we've seen with these eggs, a couple of things, right? We're playing catch up right now, and we might go up. I think we're going to go up, to be honest. I don't think we're going to go down. There's too much spending. I'm sure right now, I think jobs, which is surprising to me because they haven't taken into account over 20,000 people are out of a job right now from these recent job cuts within the past like 2-3 weeks. That wasn't taken into consideration. Those people need now to apply for. There's a lot of factors that will probably come out February 1st that affect. We've been going in a positive direction. I think we might turn around in a negative direction, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's definitely, and another thing that people have to keep an eye on is the COVID. You know, the pandemic. From what I've been seeing, it's still raging in China, and China stopped releasing its COVID cases and numbers and COVID deaths and all that. So we really have zero information on what's going on in that part of the world.
Crypto running makes me bullish because that means the dollar is weakening. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
If crypto's running, that means the other side of the market is probably not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's what we have to watch out for, and more immediately next week, I'm sorry, the Fed interest rate decisions that's coming February 1st on Wednesday. So that's usually at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be ready for that. If you're invested or trading or anything like that, prepare for volatility. I can't tell you in which direction, but prepare because there should be some movement on that day. Let's go over to the news. So the main breaking story last week was this right here, which was Genesis filed for bankruptcy. So that was the biggest story, and they had basically 5.1 billion in liabilities. It is one of the reports that came out. But they definitely did file, and this is something that I spoke about, that we had to watch out for, because this could be another similar to FTX, where there's contagion spreading because there's so many different people connected to Genesis. If you don't know Genesis, it's owned basically by DCG. If you don't know what DCG is, that they're the ones who run the Grayscale investment fund. So anybody that's buying and selling crypto,
Grayscale, they own Coinbase, they own
right.
a lot.
They own this website that I'm on right now, CoinDesk. This is owned by DCG. So DCG is a very big player, and this was one of their lending business. And they owed so much money, they had to file for bankrupt. And I think
one of their lending businesses, they had multiple, and
right.
The other ones didn't have enough liquidity to pay and help keep Genesis afloat.
Yep.
Just for some insight there.
Yep. So they filed for bankruptcy, and they lost hundreds of millions of dollars in FTX and Three Arrows Capital, which obviously affected them. And they owe another big crypto company, Gemini. They owe Gemini almost $1 billion. So now the Winklevoss twins are like going after DCG and Genesis and all that. what's his name, Barry Silbert. So that's a whole other thing, right? But so I mean, I don't think it has it because Gemini going down would be huge, right, in the space. I think Gemini is a very very big exchange. Um, but so we have
I
to.
don't think Gemini is going to go down per se. I know Gemini faced trouble with the SEC because of
Yeah.
Earn, their lending
Right.
program.
Right.
They are looking at some issues there potentially, which it's like 50-50. Because I don't know the intricacies in the way that the program is set up, but for them to be facing prosecution and lenders like, Celsius and BlockFi and all these other guys, functioning for so long with relative, hey, give us your crypto, we'll, use it, we'll give it to you, and you're going to earn interest. It's the same thing that Gemini, Coinbase did it for a very short period of time before I think also the SEC said, hey, stop that. Yeah, but they're facing a little scrutiny, and hopefully they can get it together because it's not cheap to be in court.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, Bitcoin's price, the crypto market did not care about any of this news. I know a lot of people say that it was already priced in. But yeah, crypto did not care. Bitcoin continued moving up. I actually think on the day that the news came out, so I think it came out maybe on Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, after Bankruptcy late Thursday.
Yeah, and Bitcoin was like, "Oh, they're filing for bankruptcy. Perfect. Let me pump." And it basically went from 20,000 up to pretty much where it's at right now, sitting around 22,800.
And it's funny because like a lot of the Bitcoin, Bitcoin maxis, they love this. They're like, yeah, not your keys, not your coins.
Yeah.
Screw you if you did, deposit in anything.
Yeah.
So it's quite funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been wild. So that's something that we're watching now, and we need to keep a close eye on, see if there's any contagion effects from this bankruptcy, see how it affects, because I know they were dealing with a lot of institutional money. So see how it affects these big companies, these big institutional players, and if it could have a ripple effect on the crypto market. So definitely something that we're watching for. Another thing in the news is Cardano that came out. I think it was today that it happened. The network actually went down when over 50% of the nodes of the network were affected, but the network was automatically solved within minutes. So I think it happened yesterday or this morning or something like that.
Yeah, it happened late, like early this morning, like 1 a.m. pretty much, or into yesterday, depending on what time zone you're in.
Right.
But yeah, pretty much the Cardano network, the nodes went down. See this often happen with Solana. The flip side of this is that Cardano almost immediately, within minutes, pretty much went back online because the nodes restart automatically.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of devs on top of what was going on. So no major issues there. That could be a major issue, let's say 50 years from now, if this tech is still around and has developed. But hopefully that stuff doesn't happen when more of the world is depending on these networks.
Yeah, so that you can see here, I have a picture of the dip in the nodes, and how it pretty much instantly jumped right back up, and what looked like back to normal. So so that's something that happened earlier today. What else do we got in the news today? We have the Ethereum, the Shanghai upgrade is getting closer and closer. What's going on with that?
It's closer, but some of the core developers are in disagreement as to what should happen and when it should roll out. For those of you guys who don't know, the Shanghai update on 2.0, which is the staked version beacon chain of Ethereum proof of stake. And people could stake all the way back in 2020, actually. I think it was December 2020. People haven't been able to unstake that money, pretty much. You still can't unstake that money. And that's the purpose of the Shanghai update. Now, some of the developers are like, hey, let's do this. And then some of them are saying, I don't think this is ready. I think we should think about the long-term health of the network, cause issues that we don't know yet. So there's a little bit of rebuttal there. It was supposed to set to launch in March. So just, less than 2 months, a month and a week from now, sometime in March. But it doesn't seem like everyone's on the same page. Personally, guys, if you were staking on the Ethereum network and, stake, I'm going to say you're okay. And it's probably better to wait and make sure that Ethereum is not going to disappear. It's not going to go off in the ether, right? And we're going to just destroy the longevity of the network, because it is extremely risky to change consensus mechanisms from proof of work to proof of stake in the first place. That is like, you're supposed to build a blockchain to do one forever. You're not supposed to update them like that's abnormal, right? And if half of the devs are like, no, we shouldn't do this, I really don't know why the other devs are, going along with it. Maybe they have driven motives to go ahead with it. But, in my, we shouldn't, then, probably stand off. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I think like you said, I think if you have your Ethereum staked, I mean, you should just let it do its thing for now. Like, there should be no reason that you're even.
You got bankrupt for a couple years. Just forget about it.
Right. Yeah. Just leave it. Forget about it. Your future self is going to thank you. In a couple years, just just leave it. And I think the majority of people knew that it was gonna be stuck for a while, right? They didn't know for how long exactly, but I don't think there was ever given any exact date on when they could get their Ethereum out. So, I know that some people were expecting it earlier, but I mean, it's it's a long-term investment, and I think most people knew that when they were doing that, it was for long-term purposes. Just leave it in there. Let's make sure that everything is good. There's no reason to rush things. So yeah, I'm just hoping that everything works out well, because Ethereum is one of my favorite projects, in the crypto space. And I have high hopes. I think everybody does for it in the next couple years. So yeah, it's very, very big. It's obviously the second biggest in market cap. So something bad happening in Ethereum is just as bad as if something bad happened in Bitcoin. It's going to affect the entire market. So something we definitely got to keep an eye on. I see.
I would just ignore it. People don't. Technically, the entire, if Ethereum goes down, like the whole thing just, I don't know, guys. We might have to go home. We might have to go home.
We gotta go back. We gotta go back to working at McDonald's.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So what's the update with FTX? I know a lot of people are wondering about that.
Oh, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. Oh, you know what? So I was in the Bahamas last week here, and I was in Nassau.
Oh, really?
And I was like, yeah, I was. And I was like, oh man, where is FTX's house? So, he has 2 condos in Nassau. One of them was the infamous sex slave house that he had with all the employees. $300 million condo. The other one was very near to where I was, and I went to go check it out. And it was the most basic condo I've ever seen. And it's almost $3 million. It's a $2 million. It was probably like 10 stories big. Wasn't very big. But property in the Bahamas is actually really expensive. After going there and seeing exactly what I had never been to after going there and seeing, how everything was looking, I understand why people go do business there and use it. It is legitimately a tax shelter for countless amounts of businesses around the world. You guys are in seashell companies, and send stuff overseas to reduce taxation, and that was very, very apparent. Quote unquote, $2-3 million condo. One of FTX is escape properties. That was his escape condo, pretty much. So if he's not at the office slash luxurious condo, he's at this smaller condo that's in Cable Beach. And yeah, it was cute. It was like, okay, well, this is nice back home. But yeah, anyways, so if you guys haven't been up to, which I'm wondering now that we didn't really hear much about that, about the $100 million. But now I think he's still in Palo Alto. I believe I saw BitBoy, the investigative reporter, in front of his parents' house in Palo Alto, California. I was like, okay, don't get arrested. But yeah, you guys have been keeping up. About a week ago, maybe less. So Sam had tweeted out saying that the new is running his lip service, and now he's thinking that FTX might be okay to in operations. Now, Sam has always claimed that FTX US is solvent. We haven't necessarily seen anything besides the new chief executive coming out saying that he's open to restart looting operations, that it could be solvent. What we did see is that the Fed seized over $700 million of assets from Mr. Sammy, including Robinhood stocks that were in fact in FTX digital market assets name, as well as multiple accounts, bank accounts, some with almost 100, some with 7 million, like so money stored. Sam's name, the FTX, which was very sloppy, again sloppy hand. And FTX were handling their book. God knows what's on there. In addition, the new has come out regarding some of FTX's charitable work, right? So Sam Bankman-Fried had an aunt in Broward County, Florida, who was a political advisor. And one of the things that they had set out to do was to scholarships to students who participated in a Shark Tank-like hackathon. They would pitch them, and they would, win a scholarship if they were the winning student and spend the scholarship. Because of everything that's happening, $1.3 million has been awarded, but they're kind of seeing, are we actually going to get this money? Because they never received it. They were told that they were going to get this money when they go to college. It's January. Some of these students, they're going to graduate 3-4 months from now, and probably not get those scholarships. So that is the newest, I guess, disappointment we've seen. Wow. From FTX. It is sad because some of these students, they were awarded like $15,000 each, and 1.3 million has been awarded. That's like an entire high school class or two of senior students. So it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I hope those students get that figured out, because that does suck.
Yeah, that's crazy. I also saw that that there was like three men like crashed into his parents' house or something like that. That they've been trying to
Oh
get
no.
inside, yeah. And that they said that they'll be back or something like that. That they're gonna get inside his house. I don't know. It's been a crazy few months for him for sure.
No bueno. I think there was a sign in front of his house, like, there.
Yeah,
Dear Jesus.
that's wild. All right, so the last thing you wanted to talk about the Miami Blockchain Week. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. So I mentioned some of that at the beginning of now yet. So pretty much Miami Blockchain Week, which is I think where me and Jay had met each other. It was around Miami Blockchain.
Yeah,
Basically, it's a point in time where Miami had the first longest running conference in North America, the North American Bitcoin Conference, actually where Ethereum launched. And there was an exchange that had, let's say. So anyways, very historical conference, recently sold off. And it's a fun week. If anybody is within, I'll be hosting two events. So again,
nice.
that is going to be an Avalanche meetup with Coin Fund, and there is also going to be a Web3 pitch night, which is also going to be fun. There's tons and tons and tons of other. Now is the time to come and have fun in Miami. Or if you are here, come out and play. So yeah, I think Basel and, well, I'm going to say there's three events now. Basel, Bitcoin Miami, which the Bitcoin conference has basically just, like, Miami is their home base. It used to be San Francisco, I believe. And now Miami Blockchain Week. Those are the three. Miami Blockchain Week is also, so all the hacker houses are going to start popping up midweek here in Miami. So I think there's a Solana hacker. Let me see. There's a bunch of them. I actually have a sheet, Jay. I'll drop in the chat actually, because I am.
Yeah.
I'll drop in the chat for anyone who's interested in looking at all the events. But there is a Solana hacker house. There's a near hacker. There is, it looks like a Space Eyes hacker house. I'm not sure what that is. An AR loft. Yeah, just a lot of stuff. So it's going to be a fun week. And it looks like there's a Cosmos one too, it seems. So yeah, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. If anyone's interested, check it out. It's a fun week, good tech week in Miami.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like good times. It's a good way to network. And I know you're not only the Bitcoin queen, but you're the queen of networking, especially down here in Miami. So yeah, I know you always got all the latest updates on what's going on with that. So that's good to add in here. All right, so the last thing that we want to do, well, real quick, I want to kind of go over. We already spoke about it a little bit, but I want to go over kind of what I'm watching here on the charts this week. And then we'll do some Q&A. If you guys are here, make sure to say what's up in the chat, and any questions that you guys want answered in the Q&A, make sure to drop it in the chat, and we're gonna run through some of those questions after I take a look here at the chart. And make sure to smash that like button. Don't forget, guys, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. And turn on that notification bell so that you guys are notified as soon as we post up these new videos. We're doing new videos. We're doing these live streams now every Monday. We're going to be doing trading strategies. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff. So make sure you guys do not miss out on those things, because you might miss out on becoming crypto rich, right?
Well, guys, what I can say is that there are, which was a little complicated. You had to thing and run a node. Some buried entry. They haven't done anything. They haven't released anything. They're looking at two other chains. I think there was one with a T. I don't put in my research and give you guys all the info only on Bitcoin Daily.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And I'm trying to lip read some of the stuff because since you're going in and out, I've been trying to do some lip reading on what you're saying because if it almost feels like Discord is doing it on purpose. Whenever you're gonna say like the important part, that's when it takes out your audio. It's like, oh, yeah, by the way, very important, and then you just it just goes silent, and it's like, so you don't want to miss it. Like you come back at the end of it. So it's actually real interesting when your audio is cutting out. But anyways, let's take a look here at the chart. Let's start off here at the daily, and what we can see here, if we kind of zoom out, and I always like to start at on the bigger end, and we actually started out at the yearly candles earlier this live stream. If you guys missed that, make sure to go back to the beginning where we spoke about the yearly candles here and what I'm kind of seeing there. Now we're going to take a look here at the weekly, and if we kind of zoom out a bit to when this drop really started, you can see let's actually take that out. I'm gonna just kind of draw a line, and it's gonna be a very crooked line, but I'm doing my best. That was basically a dynamic resistance that was basically like taking us down there. And you can see that we've clearly now broken above that resistance, which played a role at the previous all-time high. It played a role back in March, April of last year, before we began that huge drop to the downside. And we hit it again back in August of last year, right before we hit September pretty much. And, in September, we dropped down again. And then, of course, in November, when we got the news for FTX, we were actually at the same exact resistance line. So it was like that resistance line. Anytime we touched it, like really bad news came out. And the good news is that we have now broken above that line. So that's some good news here on the bigger time frames. And then the other thing, I actually have a video releasing on it this week on Wednesday, is something we spoke about last week, is the hash ribbon indicator. It has marked a buy signal here on the weekly time frame and daily time frames. And if you want more in-depth on exactly what the hash ribbon is, how the buy signal is generated. It's generated through three stages: the hash rate, the moment, I always get stuck on this word, capitulation. It's because it has to do with hash rate, right? Hash rate has to do with the miners. So miner capitulation, the end of miner capitulation is the second stage, which you get this green dot here. And then the final ingredient needed for that buy signal to trigger is momentum in the Bitcoin price. And that's why, like you'll see here, we had capitulation, we had the end of capitulation, but we never had momentum in the Bitcoin price. So we never got a buy signal there. So this time around, we did get a buy signal because all three of them kind of came together, gave that buy signal. And if you go back on history on how that's done, and again, I go through all of this in the video that I'm dropping on Wednesday, you'll see that it's set that out of 10 signals, 7 out of 10 times it's marked the macro bottom for Bitcoin's price, and 10 out of 10 times the price has initially gone up after a buy signal. So I mean, there's no guarantees in crypto, obviously, so always do your own research, always be prepared for the worst, but it is something else to kind of keep in mind and keep an eye on. So that's the other thing that I'm looking at. And then if we kind of go here to the daily, we'll see that we've had a lot of green candles. a lot. We actually had a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a week straight of green. Then last week we consolidated a bit, and at the end of the week on Thursday, Friday, we ran up. Friday was the biggest day there, almost 8% move up on Friday. And then, of course, over the weekend, some more consolidation. And I think now probably this week we see more consolidation. And I think we see consolidation probably until Wednesday maybe of next week, when the Fed interest rate meeting and announcement happens. So I don't know if we see another really big move until then, or at least leading up until then. I think leading up until then, we're going to get news in both directions. So, depending how the overall market is feeling, then that's the way we're going to go. And then once Wednesday hits, I think we're going to get some volatility. Again, it's hard to try to guess in the direction, so I try to stay away from making those guesses. But it's just kind of what we're looking at this week going into next week as well. Right now, the resistance and support lines here that we're going to be watching is, as you guys can see right here, 23,000, a big whole number, right? Those are always resistance lines. If you go back in the history of these of the price of Bitcoin, you'll see that the same exact price has played a role multiple times. If you just keep kind of going back, you see here is a resistance, here played a support for all throughout that time here. Then again here, it was another resistance. So it's going to be a little bit of a resistance there at 23, which we're seeing there. So I'm expecting us to continue consolidating here. Beyond 23, 25 is that next big number that Bitcoin really likes to kind of stick around. You can see again, we saw some play as a resistance up here multiple times. So 23 through 25, I think, is that next big resistance that we need to break above. If we break above that, then we kind of have a clear path to like that 27, 28 range. So that's kind of what we're watching on the upside. Now on the downside, we're going to see we have minor support here at 22 and 21. The big support is obviously $20,000. It's not only a previous all-time high, it's a big whole number. And it's actually, if we spoke about this one last week, that's where we have a CME gap there. So a CME gap, of course, is when the futures market closes and the Bitcoin price moves, right? In either up or down, doesn't really matter the direction. What matters is that when the CME, the futures trading, opens again on Monday, then there's a gap, right? That entire, whatever happened on Saturday and Sunday is missing from the futures. And the reason that's important is because gaps are usually filled, not always filled, but usually filled within 2 to 3 weeks, if not on the same day. So if it wasn't filled last week, so we still have that gap, and that gap is sitting literally right on $20,000. I think the gap is $19,995. So the reason that's important to know is because if we get any type of price movement back down, that's something that traders are going to be targeting. And when they start targeting that, what they do, they start putting buy orders at the CME gap. So once it gets filled, right, then the price sometimes will pump back up, because that's where all the day traders are putting their buy orders. So that's why it's important to note that, and that adds on to all the other things with $20,000 already being a big support there. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I'm watching for this week, going into next week. And next week we'll talk a little bit more about what to expect from the interest rate decision, how the price might react, and we should be seeing reactions already by next Monday. But I want to jump into some Q&As. So if we have any questions, you guys could drop it in the chat. If not, me and the Bitcoin Queen will keep kind of chatting for a few minutes here. We're already at the hour mark. We actually just hit it. So I want to, and I spoke about this last week. So I want to ask you, and I asked this question on Twitter and on YouTube. On YouTube, the answer was, so the question is is the Bitcoin bottom in, right? And there's probably a question everybody's asking right now and wondering. On YouTube, the results was no. 61% of people said no, the Bitcoin bottom was not in. On Twitter, I think it was a similar result. I want to say, let me see. I'm trying to pull up the tweet now. Let's see, where is it? But I'm pretty sure it was a very similar result. I think, yeah. So we got 46% said no, 31% said yes. 22% of people just wanted to see the results, right? So if you add in at least half of those 22%, it pretty much puts us back at 60% of people saying no, that the Bitcoin bottom is not in. And I think I asked on Instagram as well, and it was similar. So now the question to you, Bitcoin Queen, is the Bitcoin bottom in? What are your thoughts and opinion on that?
That's a tough call.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're in. I feel like the bottom is in. It's 2023. Oh, we still have 2 more years, don't we? Oof. What do the charts say? Let's look at the charts. Look at the charts.
Yeah. So we actually looked at it in the beginning. When we looked at it, I spoke about that pattern where we have one red year and then 3 green years, and it's usually the pre-halving, year of the halving, post-halving, are the 3 green years. So this year would be the pre-halving year. So that would mean
I just don't see us going any lower. I know a lot of people are talking. Really don't think we're going to go any lower. It seems so far-fetched.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just
that will get filled, in my opinion. There goes 3 people are betting on those gaps. And I'm like, man. I think there was one. There was one at 12. And somewhere else. Where was the other one?
Yeah, there's been gaps at like 12. There's another gap at like 7 or 8,000. And like I said, so I spoke about it last week about the gaps, and I said there's people that missed out on the previous bull run because they're waiting on gaps to be filled, right? Gaps are not always filled. So the best way to do it for long-term positions, like you don't buy or sell crypto long-term dependent on gaps. The best thing that you can ever do is dollar cost average, and I think we say this all the time. And it's honestly is the best thing you can do, because the reality of the situation is we have zero idea. We have zero clue what is going to happen tomorrow, right? Yeah, maybe tomorrow the gap gets filled, but what if it doesn't? If you're waiting on the gap to get filled to buy for a long-term position, you might stay on the sidelines for the next bull run. So the best thing you can do, dollar cost average, dollar cost average, dollar cost average, right? We talk about this literally all the time. And it's for a reason. It's because it's true. We can't, like, anybody that tells you they know exactly what's going to happen in the market in the future, they're lying to you. So I already wouldn't even be listening to anybody that says anything like that. What I try to do is I try to look at pieces of the puzzle, try to put the puzzle together, and then give you a perspective on the different scenarios that we could see. So different things to watch out for, if depending on what Bitcoin's price does. So, but regardless, what my overall strategy is, whenever the price goes down, I'm buying. I buy once a week on a red day. I wait for a red day. I buy on the red day, every single week. And yeah, it's gaps can get filled, and but when gaps are that far down, like the 19995 one, yeah, that could easily get filled like today, right? And nobody will be shocked. But like the gaps from like 2-3 years ago, under 10,000, like I can't see it. I can't see that happening, because all the major players in crypto have basically sold. So who else is there that's gonna sell billions and billions and billions of crypto to make?
There's two things that you need to take into account. One, what's the drop from the high to that number? I mean, for crypto to drop from 69 to 7 grand, that's a big jump. And then how much from it where it is now to that lower number? Like if it's like a 50, 60, 70, 80%, probably not.
Yeah.
That's a big gap to fill
Yeah.
of people selling off.
Yeah. So I'm on the same boat as you. I think the bottom is in. I think FTX was the bottom of the crypto bear market. But like I'm saying, like we never know, right? But like if you start trying to
El Salvador came out dressed as a giant.
so I heard what you said about El Salvador, and then the audio went out. So I don't know what the what the punchline was. Oh yeah. Yep, I saw that. Yep.
I'm bullish.
Yep.
I'm bullish.
But yeah, so right now, yeah, like I said, I think the bottom's in. You know, FTX felt like the bottom. That panic felt like other bottoms in the crypto market when the sentiment is completely against it. We have a lot of indicators that are signaling bottoms, right? The way that and then the historical pattern of Bitcoin says that we should have a green year. So if we're having a green year this year, that means that we can set a new bottom and then still go back up and have a green year. But most likely, unless something huge, catastrophic happens, I think the bottom is in. So that, yeah, we're kind of on the same page on that.
I think the only thing I'm worried about right now is if any, potential regulation coming over for Ethereum.
Yeah.
And it's not regulation like Ethereum. It's regulation as Ethereum is going to be deemed and then follow a certain compliance and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
That's actually being rumored right now. So Brian Armstrong, the CEO, the latest rumor guys, cutting edge right here. So he took away his .eth name from his profile and has had 2 consecutive tweets bullish on Bitcoin.
Wow.
So yeah. latest conspiracy theory right here.
And that's why Satoshi Nakamoto has never revealed himself, because then people start going after him. Right now, like who's the Fed? Who are they gonna go after? Bitcoin? Like Bitcoin is everybody. It's not one person. They can't go after. You know what I mean? So that's why Bitcoin was such a genius creation. Have you heard the theory that aliens created Bitcoin?
I've heard that the U.S. government's created Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I've heard so many things.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
I heard, I forgot where I saw it, but I heard a story that aliens created Bitcoin because the way that it was so smart that it had never been figured out by anyone. So alien came, created it, and left. It's super funny. But all right.
It's not even Bitcoin that is the breaking tech. Tried to make digital monies in the past, right? It's blockchain that kind of was like the new
right
thing, because no one owned it. It was its own thing. So model.
Yeah.
Ended that theory, right? And here we are. But honestly, if Satoshi Nakamoto, Satoshi, you're right, he was smart because he came out and he, no questions asked, even though this is something decentralized, he would have went to jail. He would have got picked up by the FBI
100%.
And he would have went to jail for making his own security or alternative money, because
right
down so many times in the past. Tender legal. You can't play against the Fed. So yeah, no, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
100%. So we got a question from Rivers here. What's going on, Rivers? Thank you for joining us today. He said that that he heard me say that I buy weekly on red days. What if there isn't one for more than a week? Do you double up? So if there isn't one, I'll still buy at some point during the week, and it is what it is. Even if I end up buying, but if you go back to I think a week ago, let me see. If you look at the daily here, we actually because that literally just happened, right? So if we go here, let's see. Wait, I'm on the wrong chart. Let me go to the regular Bitcoin chart. All right. So let's say Monday. On last week, Monday, well, 2 weeks ago, on the 9th, starting on the 9th, we had pretty much a week straight of green candles. So I didn't buy throughout this week. And then I ended up buying here over the weekend, right? So I bought maybe on Sunday or something like that. Is usually when I'll buy. I had a red day. Okay, I'll just buy a little bit there. And it's not like I'm not buying anything huge, right? I'm not putting huge positions. I'm just adding a little bit. Like I'm happy to add $100 a week if that on red days, right? And I'll add a little bit on Bitcoin. I'll add a little bit to Ethereum and whatever other projects I'm stacking up on that I want to add to in my long term. And then if it doesn't happen, let's say if we just had every single day was green, it's fine. I'll just wait to the next week, because eventually this happens, right? Where the price is going to go back down. So here we go. The last week we had Tuesday that was red, and then we had Wednesday that was red. Those were 2 good days to buy on there. And you don't have to double up. You can if you want. Like if you have a specific goal that you're setting yourself for buying or anything like that, you can. If you're just holding that fund for that next week when we had that red day, you could double up that second week. Instead of buying throughout that week where it's just green all the time, just double up on a red day the next week, or just buy once. It's not a big deal. I think the bigger idea is to just do it consistently every week on a red day. Like look for a red day. If there's not a red day, you can buy on a green day. It's not a big deal. I'm just trying, like what I set for myself is just kind of like, all right, buy once a week, no matter what. So then, that's kind of my rule, right? So if I'm gonna look for a red day to buy on. If not, then I'll just buy. I'll buy on a green day. It's not a big deal. The idea is not. It doesn't really matter too much if it's a green day, because the idea is just to buy every week. So that's the main idea. And I forgot to switch my screen here. But the idea is to just buy every week. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. So today, for example, I'm not buying today. Today's green. And I'm expecting some consolidation like this today. I mean, like this week. So I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna wait for a red day. I know we're gonna have a red day at some point, even if it's something super small like this one, 0.33%. Because the idea is to just buy once a week. If it's a reg day, cool. If not, either I won't buy or I'll wait for whenever we get the next red candle or not. It doesn't really matter. The idea is just to be consistent. So I think that's the biggest idea that I'm trying to get through there is consistency.
Yep, I agree. And with that, guys, we are 15 minutes past the top of the hour.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you guys all for tuning in again. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We will be trying to do every Monday. I do have periods of time when I travel. I think I'm going to join anyways. I'm going to get I have a pretty big camera set up. I got like a professional computer for traveling, because I will be going to Thailand for 2 weeks in February. Nice. Super excited about that. Nice. And then catch me at ETH Denver for anybody who's going to ETH Denver. Awesome. It was crazy last year, and I can't wait to see what it looks like this year. They changed the venue.
Nice.
So make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at the BTC Queen, at Bitcoin.daily or XDaily.
Yeah, Bitcoin XDaily. Yeah.
Don't get scammed.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. I think this is gonna be fun. To have someone other than just myself talking and rambling on by myself. And you
Make sure you
bring.
pay for your nitro.
Yeah, I know, right? And you bring another a part of expertise to it. So that's why I love the dynamic. And yeah. For those of you that had the audio issues, I know we had some audio issues today and video issues because my camera is not working. Her audio is going in and out because of Discord. So maybe next week
It's
we'll.
all Jay's fault. It all starts with Jay.
Yeah, so it's all my fault. I'll take the responsibility for it. I'll take the downfall for it this week. But next week, let's set up. Hopefully, all these issues are hammered out. All the kinks are hammered out next week, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys again for joining. Thank you, Bitcoin Queen. I'll see you guys all in the video this week on Wednesday, and then I'll see you on the next live stream next Monday. As always, guys, peace and love.